This segment of InventAmerica TV is brought to you by the law offices of R.P. Baraska. RPB law offices have been bringing corporate-level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. For all your inventing legal needs, trust rpblawoffices.com.
Welcome. We want to welcome all of our audience from the HomeTalk USA radio program. I want to welcome all of you. This is the InventAmerica show here on the King's Broadcasting Network. Welcome all of you. And now I'd like to welcome the co-host and my partner in crime, the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton. Miss Rita, great job last week. I'm telling you, you had to fill in for all of us, and you did a great job. And I'm just glad to be back behind the famous Golden Hammer microphone. You know what I mean?
I understand. We missed you for sure.
All right. But Rita, I guess you want to talk about the importance of leverage. What do you mean by that? The importance of leverage when it comes to inventing?
Well, leverage in the inventing realm has got several different pieces. Okay, so, an inventor decides they're going to file their patent pro se. No. It is the registered patent attorney that gives you leverage. They have lifting power at the USPTO. When you get ready and you think, oh, I can do my own prototypes and I can do my own selling. And it's like, no, most inventors can't do their own selling. Selling is an animal unto itself. So you need somebody who's going to do it for you. And that's leverage. And so when you're the inventor, you want to say, all right, this is my strong suit. This is where I have the connections. And then you want to be able to say, and this is where I don't. And so you want to go out there and look for that leverage in different areas. And the leverage is somebody else who's going to do the heavy lifting for you. It's just like, when you got a big rock you need to move and you need to get a 2x4 or a 4x4 or crowbar to pry it loose and to move it. Same kind of idea where you need somebody that can do the heavy lifting.
Yeah, and that makes sense because, wow. And we talked about this in the past, it's very hard for one person to wear all these hats, and what I mean by that, and I use the analogy of me being a general contractor, and it's kind of the same analogy. And basically what I say is this, okay, a contractor can be a great contractor, but a poor businessman.
Oh, yeah.
Or he can be a great businessman and a poor contractor. But very seldom do you have a great contractor that's a great businessman. Other than the Cajun contractor, they don't exist. You know what I mean?
I do.
I use this analogy because I mean the same thing. It's hard for one guy that invented the product to try to market the product, to try to sell the product, to try to be, because let's face it, most of the inventors are what I call introverts. You got to be an introvert to kind of be an inventor. Very seldom is an inventor an extrovert. Now they are, don't get me wrong. I'm not going to clap, but you know what I mean? It's just hard. And selling, it's extrovert. Selling, it's extrovert. It's just
definitely.
You know what I mean?
Well, when a lot of the inventors I work with who have really good ideas and really good products work in the field where they're inventing because they see a problem. Right. So when they're working and they're an expert in that field, all right, when we've got a lady that's, a nurse in the neonatal care and she invents a product that's a neonatal product, she knows she's not a good salesman. She doesn't want to become a salesman. Her expertise is in nursing and taking care of preemie babies. And she likes it. She wants to stay there. So when we look then at, all right, where's her leverage? A good patent, getting somebody else that's going to make it and sell it and get it out there into the world so that she can actually have an impact in the world. All right. And it's the same thing with Dave, our guest today. He works in the industry that he invented in. And he says, nope, I ain't going to be the seller and I'm not going to want to be the manufacturer, not my area of expertise. But let me tell you what I do know. And that's what he's good at. So, the smart inventors get people to fill in that leverage where they need it.
And also, UX every successful company or businessman or CEO, what would they all tell you? The common denominator: I put great people around me, smart people, people that maybe in a little bit more expertise than I have. But you have to put fantastic people around you. And then in the future, I do want to maybe do a show with you. Well, how do you hire good people? How do you pay good people? Not what you should pay them, but how you can structure things. Because what happens is, you know, if you have and you can work out an agreement or something, like in some cases when I had my companies and do different things, hey, if I got a guy and I can't afford him, but I know I give him a piece of the action. It's just simple as that. There's some options you can do to get good people, you know, that are going to listen to you, to say, if they believe in what you're doing, you understand? Right. If they don't believe what you're doing, they're coming in and they're just going to get this.
I mean, there's certain ones you've got to pay. They're going to send you an invoice. The patent attorneys. Yeah. All right. Yeah. You don't want them to be a partner. All right. Nope. They are a service provider and you want to be able to tell them what to do. Yeah. Otherwise, they can really get bossy. And so, you know, then you want the people that can do the leverage in specific areas. And for a lot of inventors, it is in the marketing selling arena, because you bring on somebody that's going to make it and share royalties and pay the inventor. All right. Because it's the licensee that's got the reach. They've already got the contacts. They already know the places to go, whether it's, you know, tools, medical, international, whatever. But for a lot of inventors, when they, you know, we had one gentleman, and because he didn't hire an attorney to read the agreement that he entered into, that was it. Well, that was done. The licensee had all rights to that product, and the inventor got like $1,500 over 10 years. Wow. And the other guy was making all this money. Yeah. So it's like, you know, you got to be careful.
Well, I used to sit with you at the trade shows, and I've seen some of the nightmares that even what you're talking about. I know sometimes at a trade show, it's not where you want to talk about it, but it always pops up. You know, how people ask for advice, and this is what happened to me. And I mean, how many times you like shake your head and said, wow, if I could only got you, you know, a little bit before to try to put you in a straight path, because of the blueprint that in the last 3 years on this show that we set that a real nice blueprint for people to follow, and just follow it.
Yeah,
you know?
I get people say, well, where were you 5 years ago? It's like right here. I've been doing this 20 years. All you had to do was Google to find me. But, you know, they come up with those invention promotion companies. And I had a lady last night, well, what about going here? It's like their collective industry success rate is less than 1%. Is that who you want to pay 10 grand to go to market? Well, no, not exactly. It's like, don't go there. You know, this is a slow road and you've got it one step at a time. Yeah. And then it's like all of a sudden we've got these one guys that are getting ready to sign a deal. And it's like 6 months, nothing happens. It's like, all right, we need it today. Get it to us today. We're looking for those CAD drawings. And they go, okay, you're going to have them this afternoon. So, you know, it's always funny the way things kind of roll along for inventors, is because when the right door opens, you got to be ready to not just walk through, sprint through.
Well, that's how important leverage really is when you practice this system, and maybe cookie cutter the system itself. Don't stray from it. When you come, what is this? Once you get that successful marketing plan down, you know, or, you know, in place, stay with it. Don't divert, you know, just stay with, you know, and look, Rita, we talked about this off the air many times, and, you know, these get rich quick schemes, you know, in our lives, you know, it's how many times it's like, you know, if you're in there to try to get rich, or it's a get rich scheme, or you just don't understand, you put the product out there, the money's going to come.
It is, and it's going to be a slow flow. All right. Wow. It's going to be consistent. That's what you want. You know, it's the tortoise and the hare. Did you want to be the tortoise or did you want to be the hare and end up on the dinner table? And so, you know, it's slow and steady wins the race. And the secret in life is to not be too greedy. A very important man in my life taught me that years ago. And it's, you know, what makes sense. All
right. Well, Rita, we're going to have to take a short break. We're going to have to pay some bills. You're listening to the InventAmerica show here on the HomeTalk Radio Network. And we're going to be right back with our first guest, first topic right here. Because as the Inventor Lady always says, America invents. We're going to be right back. Y'all come back now, you hear?
This segment of InventAmerica TV is brought to you by SearchQuest Patent Search. SearchQuest provides for a comprehensive patent search that searches the entire world and not just the U.S. Patent Office. Make sure that before you spend those big bucks having a patent written, you've done your due diligence by getting a comprehensive patent search. Use SearchQuestPatents.com for all your patent search needs. They scour the world for you.
Welcome back. This is the Invent America show here on the King's Broadcasting Network, a part of the HomeTalk USA radio family. And along with the Inventor Lady herself, Miss Rita Crompton, I want to welcome all of you back. Now, Rita, I tell you, we have to hear from some of our sponsors. Who's sponsoring this segment?
This segment is brought to you by TrueView. It is the only accurate 3D real-time imaging blind spot. We have all had that semi come up right next to us, on the driver's side, scare the daylights out of us. Well, the TrueView stops all that. You know exactly where that vehicle is. You know exactly how large it is and when it's going to come up into your peripheral vision. Cargocatch.com is where you can go and get your TrueView mirror. So my guest for this segment is David Crouch, and David is the inventor of the Sanova suitcase. He is a long-time baggage handler, so he is inventing in the industry that he knows. And, a suitcase is just a suitcase until you can't find it when you arrive at your destination. Right, David?
That is correct.
Okay, so what is Sanova?
Sanova is a travel solution brand company. It's not just a suitcase. It's a solution to lost luggage. And what Sanova and how I got the idea for the invention was I worked for the airlines for like over 10 years, and I saw a pattern. And the pattern was how baggage got lost and how it got rerouted. And the problem was, what a lot of people don't know and what the airline don't tell you is that it's not so much the negligence of the people that work there, it's the destination tag. And what I found out that when you check bags in and you have that destination tag around the handle, and when they put it through the conveyor belt and then they take it down to get it sorted and all that stuff, that if that tag is compromised, which means if it's wet, cut, ripped, anything, and before they get it to the plane and they scan it and it don't scan, they reroute it to another flight going the same direction. And what happens is if they reroute it to another flight going in the same direction, they do a plane swap, which is the plane they rerouted to, something's wrong with that plane, and then they got to take all the bags off and take it to another plane. So this is how it gets lost. It's not so much just the negligence of the people that work there. So my suitcase has an integrated sleeve on top that where the destination tags goes into the sleeve. And so it protects the tag and it makes it so that the tag is not compromised. So it will automatically get scanned on to the flight. Everybody is institutionalized with the tracking. And the tracking is good, but it's no good if your bag don't land when you land. That's the problem.
Well, and you and I've talked about this. If the tag gets, stuck on another suitcase, they don't put it on right. I mean, so many people now are checking themselves in, and if they don't do it right and it gets ripped off, nobody knows where that suitcase goes.
Correct. That's
all
correct.
Right. And like you said, it's not the fault of the baggage handler. It comes off and there's no tag there. Now what do you do? Well,
That's
now
correct.
it sits on the runway. It gets someplace else. It goes into a lost and found.
That is correct.
And it's easy to blame the airlines or the baggage handler.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just the way those suitcases get thrown on the conveyor belt.
And then on top of that, Rita, you have to where you pay to get the bag on, $34 to get the bag on, and you're paying not even knowing that it's going to land when you land. So basically, everybody, again, institutionalized, but I got to pay to get it on because you can't stuff everything in a carry-on and put it on with you. It's just impossible. So you got to pay to play, basically, to get that bag on. And then with my luggage, I want to make it sure that if you're going to pay for it, that you're going to see it when you get to the baggage claim. When you get to the baggage.
And that's great, but like you said, everybody's the tracking. If the tag is not there to track,
correct. Correct.
Now what?
Correct.
Again, it goes
Correct.
into, the pile of lost suitcases.
That is correct. And that's what my suitcase is eliminating. It's eliminating you having to track it and knowing that it's going to be on your flight.
Well, the cool thing is that I've seen the suitcase. It's beautiful.
Mhm.
But it eliminates then that loose tag that can
Correct.
get caught between suitcases. It can get ripped off, and it's
Correct.
now it's in there. Yeah, could a suitcase still get misplaced? Well, yeah, it happens. Mother Nature is out there, and she can mess with flights big time.
That is true. Facts.
The tag is still there, so you can still find it.
Correct.
Eventually, it will catch you.
Correct. That is correct.
Yeah.
And as long as they have that tag on the handle, which they still do, you're gonna have that problem. Now, the last 5 or 6 years doing my research, you have 30 million bags lost. A lot of it is because of that reason, but a lot of people don't know that. So you got extremely high insurance claims. You got the airline being audited. You lose the integrity of the airline. All this happens at once. It's like a domino effect. So with this in place, and let's say everybody has a Sanova bag. My thing is, once you get it on, you make sure that it gets on your flight. You pretty much don't get audited because you bring the dynamic of the lost bags down to zero almost, pretty much. The only thing that can mess this up is human error, and that's in any situation.
Right.
But this Sanova bag, I've been doing this for 5 years. I did the research. Even though I worked at the airline, I still had to do an extensive lot of work. I loved your segment earlier because I was listening to it screaming, cheering you on because you were right on the money when you said that. Like, I am real big on leveraging. I stay in my lane. I don't do all the other stuff. I have my hands in it, but there are people that can market it better than I can. There are people that can do licensing deals better than I can. There are people that can do a lot of the other stuff. But as far as the airline part of it, me working for 10 years, I know every facet of the airline and how bags work.
Well, we're going to talk some more about that as soon as we get back. So stick with us, everybody. We're going to go and pay some bills. And you know what? If you are out there and you are an inventor and you'd like to be on the radio, give me a call, shoot me an email. And if you've got questions about next steps, by all means, I am happy to put you in touch with those guys who have the leverage. So stick with us, everybody. We will be right back after we go and pay some bills.
If you're an inventor or you know an inventor out there who would just like to be able to have a conversation with other inventors, join the Inventors Roundtable. It's free. The meetings are virtual, so you can be anywhere in America and talk to another inventor. And for a lot of folks out there, understanding the process, being able to ask questions, getting good service provider information is critical to the inventing process. So, got questions? Want to join? It's free. InventorsRoundtable.org.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. And a big thanks to King Productions, who makes all of this happen, and we are very grateful. So my guest for this segment is David Crouch, and he is a 10-year plus baggage handler, invented a new, not going to get lost because of a bag tag suitcase called Sanova Luggage. And right. Dave, thanks so much for being with us. The airline industry is huge. How do you get, what is your biggest challenge in getting either the airlines to pay attention to what you're doing? Oh yeah, you work for them. So anyway, tell us how that's been working for you.
That is a very good question. I think my biggest challenge is getting it licensed and getting it in front of the right people to hear it. Now I deal with 7 people, partners that's just in my collective that's helping me with this. And we have meetings scheduled with Southwest Airlines. We have another meeting scheduled with Delta Airlines, potentially like a co-branding deal. And we have there's been talks. Our manufacturing company, one of their clients is the Jordan brand. So they're going to talk to the Jordan brand because they're coming out with suitcases that potentially want our sleeve to be licensed on their luggage. So we have people in place doing it. But the thing about it is being in front of the right people to really scale it and get get it licensed. That's where we're at right now. We're doing a lot of pre-sales. We're starting our pre-sale launch this week, which I'm really excited about. But the only thing is about getting in front of the right people that's going to really push it like we really need it right now.
Well, and like you'd said when we were discussing this last week, is that, when you can get an airlines to endorse it, that's
Correct.
huge.
Absolutely.
They may not be interested in licensing it because they sell airline tickets, not luggage.
Correct.
But their endorsement of the product is
Absolutely.
huge for you. So that when you do go to one of those luggage manufacturers, that you can say, here's the airlines that are going to be backing us.
Absolutely.
That's huge. That's called leverage.
Yes, absolutely.
And so, when, I suggested that you go then when you've gathered your information and your
Mm-hmm.
data back from the airlines, and you
Mm-hmm.
go and maybe be able to get teed up to present at
Right.
a conference about, travel, luggage, airlines, whatever.
Correct.
Now you've got an audience, and that
Correct.
is also considered leverage.
Correct. That is correct. Our goal is to eventually this be the new standard. Like when you have the suitcases out now, the new standard was the 360-degree wheels and the handle, the extended handle, which are the standards on the suitcase right now. But I wanted to where this sleeve is the new standard, to where you can't get on a flight unless you have this sleeve integrated in your on your luggage. Now, I've had people come to me about, hey, Dave, can you just buy something separate and you just slap it on there? No, you cannot. Because how they do those luggages, it wouldn't last 6 months. So It has to be integrated on the luggage, and they're required to be licensed.
The, even the last time I traveled, I could track it,
Mm-hmm.
all right. But if the tag's not there, you can't track anything.
That is correct.
It just disappeared.
That is correct. So what this does is protects all your information for it to get to the final destination. And that was the main reason why we even, how the idea even came to place. And I'm just thankful that I got people that believe in what we're doing, and we're going to make it happen.
So the airline that you work for, what kind of feedback have they been giving you, or the other airlines that you've talked to? What's the feedback been?
That is a very good question. I have, because I'm going to tell you the quick story about it. When I worked for Southwest Airlines, I ended up getting hurt and I couldn't work there anymore. So a lot of the employees that worked there that I was cool with, they've seen the suitcase and they's like, oh my God, this is amazing. And a lot of them really want to endorse it. So I'm getting a lot of good feedback from the workers there. We haven't scheduled a meeting with the executives yet, but I know that because they work there in the field of handling luggage all day, I know the executives are not going to have an issue with it.
Well, and part of that is the guys that are doing the work, they don't want to lose the luggage.
That is correct.
But they're the ones who get blamed for losing the luggage.
That is correct. So imagine coming out with something that says, hey, I have something to make it so that you won't lose your luggage. And people are going to try it, at least to see what happens. And then, but once they see the concept and how it's made, and light is brought to this, which I'm one of the first people that's ever brought light to this. Everybody's tripping off the aesthetics of a suitcase, but nobody is worried about it landing when you land. So I am reconditioning people's minds to think about it getting on the flight rather than it being tracked. Because if you're worried about it being tracked, you have the mindset of thinking that it's going to be lost.
Oh, absolutely. I was expecting my suitcase to end up in Taiwan. I'm going to Salt Lake City, but there's when it got, the storms. Okay, Mother Nature decided she was going to be cranky, and so they put me on a plane that was going through Dallas instead of Charlotte. But my suitcase was still going through Charlotte. Oh yeah, and then it chased me all the way to Salt Lake. But at least it ended up in Salt Lake City as opposed to Taiwan. Right. And nothing against Taiwan, but I really don't want to be going there to get my bag.
Right.
And so but I was fortunate because it still had the tag on the bag when it arrived. So all I had to do was go in, show my receipt, and match it up to that one, and the guy goes, "You're good to go." But if it had not been there, if it had been ripped off, the bag would have been in Taiwan, and I would never have seen it again.
And you know what, Rita, you lucked out, because there's a lot of people that never be in a situation where they are reconnected with their bags, And now they have a place, I forget where it's at. I don't know if it's in Alabama or some kind of country state, to where if you don't claim it in like a certain amount, like 3 months or so, they sell your bag with everything in it.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yeah.
Yeah. This is a true story. This is not fabricated. So my thing is, we want to eliminate that too, as well.
Oh, yeah. And, for some people, they've got things in their bags that they can't take on
Absolutely.
the airplane.
Absolutely.
And,
Absolutely.
too big, too heavy, too bulky, whatever.
Absolutely.
And like you said, you can't take everything on the flight with you.
Absolutely.
And, oh yeah, I'm a girl. I like to take my makeup and I like to take all my, stuff in there, but it fits
Right.
in my bag.
Right.
And don't tell anybody, but I brought a half a bottle of bourbon home for my husband last time. Couldn't take that on the airlines with me. But put it in a Ziploc bag, take it home. Here, honey, thanks for coming to the airport to get me. And, but there's just, things that you put in a bag to check a bag. You pay them, like you said, an extra $40 besides, your ticket to take your bag and to make sure it gets there is kind of the whole idea.
That is correct.
All right. So what's the next immediate? Is it the meetings with Southwest and Delta? Is that where you and your team are going?
It's the meeting with Southwest and Delta and doing the pre-sale launch. We also have, we're doing an email blast. We're doing 1,000 email blasts per day. But I have an amazing team that helps me with it. So we have people in place that do certain things. We have people that do the email blast. We have people that's pushing the pre-sale launch on all social medias. We have the meetings that we're almost scheduled with Delta and Southwest. So we have a lot of things going on this week. This is going to be a premier week for us.
Well, and you are teed up to get a bunch of those made, all right, so that you can actually get testing done with a couple of the airlines.
Absolutely.
And that's leverage in and of itself.
Absolutely.
Being able to say, here, take these suitcases and test these and give us the feedback. Huge leverage. There's so many inventors that don't have that as an option.
Absolutely.
And so when you've got the connection to the airlines, you're able to do the test run with the bags, really great leverage, Dave. And, I just wish you guys the best. Being somebody who travels, don't like losing my luggage, and I always pay to check my bags.
Right.
So anyway, thank you so much for being on with us, and we will get you back. We want to follow up and see how things are going with you. Stick with us, everybody. We're going to be right back with our industry expert, Mike Ryan. He knows all about leverage. And if you're out there and you're an inventor and you need some help, all right, give us a call, because we know the people that can help you, whether it's legal, money, launching, marketing, whatever. Let us know. We will be right back with Mike Ryan.
TrueUp, easiest way to hang your pictures. We all know how stressful picture hanging can get. TrueUp comes with everything you need to level and hang pictures with no damage and no mess. Just peel, apply the adhesive to the back of the TrueUp mount and press firmly. Remove the remaining adhesive. Use the level and press and hold for 3 to 5 seconds to attach the TrueUp mount to your wall with a strong hold. The TrueUp frame adapter is compatible with most frames on the market. Apply the adhesive strip to the adapter, stick, and your frame hangs easily on the wall mount. This lets you adjust your picture side to side for perfect placement every time. The possibilities are limitless, and it's easy on your walls. Picture hanging can be truly a one-person job. TrueUp, the future of hanging is here.
And thank you so much for being with us for this segment of Invent America, because America invents. This segment is brought to you by RPB Law Offices. RPB Law Offices has been bringing corporate level legal expertise to the independent inventor community for more than 20 years. So for all your inventing legal needs, you can trust RPB Law Offices. And my industry expert for this segment is Mike Ryan, CEO and founder of Pronto Launch. He's got that leverage thing that we talk about frequently on the marketing side of things and the outreach for a lot of inventors. Selling is the hardest thing that they can do. And Mike's the man to go to. Mike, thanks for being with me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
So give our listeners, what is Pronto Launch?
Essentially, Pronto Launch is a global product acquisition advisory company. We work with inventors. We look for new, unique products that change the industry, and we help scale it, make it profitable and productive, and create it into a successful brand.
So why is leverage something that's kind of a new concept to inventors, and why is it so important?
Leverage is important, but one of the things that I know all your segments was focused on leverage, but part of leverage is credibility. You just don't get leverage. How you get leverage is by being out there and saying what you mean and meaning what you say. I'll give an example is that one client that we're working with right now, they're the largest distributor in the retail market over in the Oceanic area, which consists of um, 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 your New Zealand and Australia and so forth. Well, they want people who can bring them products, but also they want you to deliver on it. Can you sell it, market, ship it? Can you support the program? Can you? And that's the key. So through our contacts that we've had is that it allowed us to create leverage to allow us to what we call, we're not a one item company. This one company in Australia, that one company, they have 500-600 stores. So we're going to bring them 5, 6, 7 different products, and they want to look up at us as a way that we can constantly give them a steady flow of products. So that leverage by them saying to us, hey, if you produce for us, we'll keep on bringing you product. And then they have confidence in us because we're bringing a product, quality products, unique product, and we have the ability to keep that steady stream going and making it productive and profitable for both of us.
I think a lot of inventors, and they say, well, I'll just use social media, and they don't realize that social media is a monster. It can be really hard to manage, hard to understand and learn, and just a royal predator. And they don't realize it. They just think, oh, I'll build a website and I'll go out and do social media and I won't have to pay anything. Holy mackerel. It can eat a budget faster than anything else. I've never seen an octopus be able to eat so much as I have with social media.
Social media is important. It's that initial step. It's like creating a campfire, as I often say. You can get started on it, but you need something to sustain that. Even if you have the leverage, you need to produce yourself every day. You need to provide that service every day. We live in a world of what have you done for me lately? You can have great products, but companies, whatever, regardless of what the product is, go from $0 to $1 million. That's one thing. Go for a $2-3 million company, it gets harder. There's more challenges, and that's all part of that proving yourself on a day-to-day basis. And the leverage that we have is that we've shown people that, hey, whether you have a $1 million, $3 million, $5 million company, if you need to be acquired, if you need advisory help, we're able to do that across the board. And these guys have counted on us, and we have a track record to be able to produce that on a daily basis.
Yeah, and I think, like with Dave, where he's been a baggage handler, so he knows the industry, he's got contacts in the airlines that gives him then, the outreach for that he needs. Where he admits he needs now is, the selling, the marketing, and the piece. So he can get the endorsements, which is really, really critical in getting a product out there. But airlines, they don't manufacture suitcases, but they can tell a manufacturer, we want this, so hustle it up. They've got then the bigger fist.
What those companies want is that Dave mentioned a couple of things in the last segment. Opening up doors is one thing, all right, but you still got to keep on what I call feeding the tiger. All right, every day, every week, once you produce them, whether it's Nike or whatever, Jordan or whatever organization that is, they want to make sure their name's out there. They want to make sure that, yes, we could have the access. We have the resources for it. We could do all this for you, but can you grow with us? Can you sustain on a day-to-day basis? So, yes, we can help people scale it from day one, but also no matter how big they get, we can be that partner down the road that can keep that leverage strong. It only gets bigger. It doesn't get any harder. It actually, the bigger you get, if you're structured right, it actually, believe it or not, gets easier. It doesn't get harder, believe it or not. If you have, Michael King was mentioned earlier in the segment, is that we have a lot of people. Our infrastructure is phenomenal. We have 12 people to help run our businesses. It's critical that you need people in place to be able to run that for you, because one person, no matter how big you are, you're a $3-4 million company. 1-2 people cannot do all that work. You have to have the right people in place to be able to handle that growth, and you need to get it done.
And it's just, everybody knows where their strength is, so that they, it's like, okay, this is what I do, and I need you to do your thing, and because one person doesn't do it all. You're exactly right. It makes a difference to have a good team and be able to get the things done. So we're glad that, we're able to let people know, let the inventors know that leverage, which is not a word that shows up in an inventor's everyday discussion, what it is and why it's so critical to success.
Yeah, it's if you have the right people in place and people know what they're doing, it can be. You don't want to be a company that has a phenomenal product. It doesn't go anywhere because you don't have the right infrastructure.
Yeah,
You don't want
and
to be
we've seen it.
You don't want to be a company that you grow to $1 million. You don't have the infrastructure sustain that business. You
Yeah.
want to be someone who could be successful year 2, 3, 5 year, whether you're a $1 million or $10 million company.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Mike, thanks so much for being on with us to talk about leverage. I'm sure that we will have you back again. Thanks everyone for joining us today. We will be back next week with more stories on getting products from mind to market. We will have new inventors and industry experts. So join us and have a wonderful week.